I'm Art Blazer in Orange, California, south of Los Angeles. And in my case, I'll throw in some knowledge before that a lot less with most people until I became disabled, which was in 1993. I had a brainstem stroke and became disabled. I'm a full-time chair user today. And I would say that the issues of disability discriminations I confronted. Big one was access to my home and simple ones to the job. That although curb cuts were in theory supposed to be in place by 1995, and practice they weren't. They are today, which I think is emblematic of the effect of the ADA. Hasn't always gotten things to that time, but the spirit of the ADA is one of confrontation, people being public about their needs. And eventually, Orange, where I live, had curb cuts at the corners, which meant it was possible for me to live about 5 blocks from campus and implement also an accommodations, which has included a computerized voice that makes it possible to teach the kind of thing that wouldn't have existed decades ago. Fortunately, California, a number of us are able to take advantage of good state laws, but I think they're reinforced by the spirit, at least, of the ADA. We see the ADA's effect for good point of the spirit and some things that don't work just about every day. That in trying to get access to different buildings and find out that the experience shared by other people of "Gee, this shouldn't be happening, but in fact it is." But if the difference is that we're people motivated, eventually things change and adapt. I've noticed in most in education that I teach at Chapman University since 1981, so before the ADA, and when I was not disabled and teach today, noticed a lot of the effect through teaching disability studies and having students who actually grew up knowing that the ADA existed and so-called ADA generations, which makes a big difference in people are claiming disability and trying to make the world a better place. And in many cases, ultimately successful, and some cases not. But there are reasons for it, and I think there's a desire to understand the reasons. I think that one issue of priority that's actually been recognized by a number of people as the issue where and how people live and the contrast between nursing home and life in the community or congregate settings. And we're experiencing through COVID-19, the current crisis, a lot of deaths in nursing homes worldwide. And we also have a court decision in the United States the Olmsted case, which Friday's interpretations of the central threat of the right of people to live in the community guaranteed by the Americans with Disabilities Act. I think one of the unfortunate things that we're seeing is the lack of a movement toward nursing home reform or statements that if we can continue to live in congregate settings, and number of people are active. A big one, I think, is the independent living centers and independent living movement, something that I feel privileged in a lot of ways to be involved in. We have a Center for Independent Living for Orange County and Anaheim, and a major issue has been transitions from nursing home. And that will continue to be a major issue, including interpretations of courts, which I think is very important, not only in the United States, but elsewhere as well. England, I think, has notes roughly the same thing happening, that about half of the deaths are people in nursing homes. I think another dimension of the issue is that now we're seeing a lot of people who have had COVID-19 tested positive and recovered, but a lot of indications that they haven't recovered perfectly, that greater likelihood of stroke, some things that are similar to multiple sclerosis, and a lot of people who haven't thought of themselves as disabled, but in fact have many of the conditions of disability. And an important factor in the coming years, I think, will be that people claim disability and will discover that it's actually a part of the way a lot of us live. And that's something that's going to go away, but going to be more likely. And we can make the world a lot better by acknowledging the rights to come along with disability. The most important step that we as community members can take is education broadly conceived, that all of us are involved in through the lifespan, beginning actually with childcare and considering the multiple dimensions of disability, some with pride and positive attitudes toward human differences continue through their lifespan. I know religious organizations at first might find it difficult to deal with disability issues in politics, like the Americans with Disabilities Act and vocabulary of rights, but that's very necessary. I think within colleges and universities, I know we have an undergraduate disability studies program, but also community education and reading effective the media. Sometimes we see things with entertainment and increasing visibility of disability is important. Fortunately, we have projects like the Disability Visibility Project, number of instances of involvement of the media, foundations like the Ruderman Foundation, but a number of indications that in the future, disability will be something that people are likely to think about and deal with in a positive way.